Top of the morning to you guys. What's good? It is the 10th of March. It's 4:30 in the morning. And I was going to say I'm up extra early this morning, but I'm kind of up at this time anyway. So we're just getting caffeinated, electrolytes going down, if you can see. Right, is the gimbal going to change? Yeah, there we go. And we've got a ball pit in the corner as well. Life with two girls. Anyway, there's a lot I want to share with you today. I'm going to Belfast to meet a very good friend of mine, a fellow gym owner. So I want to distill a lot of lessons that I've learned lately, as well as take you on the journey to give you a little behind the scenes. So enjoy the vlog. I'll see you in the next. Okay, Belfast, here we come. All right, team. You'll probably notice that this backdrop doesn't look anything quite like an airport, and that's because I'm back in the gym. I'm back in the office, and it's the day after my trip to Belfast. And the reason I'm shooting this, and I'm going to run you through these lessons differently to what I had planned with the actual vlog, is because since going to Belfast and coming back, I feel compelled to share 3 different lessons that I experienced whilst I was away. And the first one is being about getting outside of your freaking comfort zone. For the last 3 months, I've been dialed into the business. Like long days, 16-hour days, recruiting, transitioning people off the team, in a bit of sales and marketing, and into more roles that I wouldn't usually be in. And I got to a point where, middle of February, I felt that I needed to get out. I needed to get out of my environment. I needed to change the scenery. And I know that Belfast for me is a place that whenever I go, the ease of being able to travel to the airport 30 minutes, jump on a plane and be there within an hour and a half gives me the ability to step into a different world, to be around different people, to not have to be worrying about what's going on inside of the business. And that's where the first lesson lies, which is in order for things to change, you have to change. Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's the people, maybe it's the business model, but you cannot guarantee that you're going to be able to get the level of success that you want based on the 4 walls that you're currently in. And rarely opportunity occurs when you're in your current environment. If you think about every single thing that you've done and you've achieved, it's usually come to you when you're least expecting it, when you're outside of the day-to-day hustle of the business, when you're outside of team meetings, sales calls, or social media posts. It's usually when you're thinking about getting to a destination and you're about to switch off. Maybe that's a holiday for you. Maybe that's a business trip. Maybe that's a freaking seminar that you go to. Like, I know for me, when I step outside of my world, get outside of my 4 walls, opportunity occurs. And one of the things that we really wanted to do across this day with myself and Aaron was just go and do some cool shit. We went watch shopping, we went car shopping, we had IV drips. And in that recovery suite that we actually went and had IV drips, that was where, for me, the first piece of opportunity I found, I felt that found me. And it was looking at the longevity side of things. And of course, recovery is a massive buzzword at the moment, not just from athletes, but from everyday people in our gyms. And I felt that, you know what, this was maybe meant to be a trip I needed to book at this moment in time. Because for me, blood work, PRP, IV, anything to do with red light, saunas and ice baths, I'm in it, and I'm becoming more and more invested in that side of things. And it's something that I'm always looking to potentially add as some string to our bow inside of T2 Fit. And I've always been reluctant. You know, when we opened T2 Fit Pearly, one of our goals was to actually open up a recovery suite. But when we looked at it, it was like, do we want to be maintaining ice baths and saunas? Do we want to scale a whole new business alongside this? and the timing wasn't right. We had the space, the opportunity was there to be had, but did we want to start to make things complicated by having additional services and the maintenance and the cleaning and the team involved in order to make this successful? I wasn't required to give that level of focus up in order to try and make that successful. But going to Belfast, having the IV drip and being in a place where I felt, this could actually be something we could integrate, we could implement. So this being said, the reason I share this first lesson with you around getting outside of your environment is because if you're stuck, if you're going through challenges with team, as we all are, if you're going through business growth challenges where you can't see how you're going to break through the current ceiling you're at, get outside of your environment. It's really going to happen from doing the thing that you do every single day. If the calendar doesn't shift, if nothing is changing, if nothing is improving, you're working on the wrong things and you're getting in your own way. So my piece of advice is this: go and book a day trip away. Go and do something that may feel unproductive and that the business may need you for that day. Just go and do it anyway, because it will give you a whole new level of thinking. But more importantly, it will refresh how you feel. And when you come back with a surge of motivation and energy, that's maybe the IV drip for me. But it's also because your mind's been expanded to new things. You've been able to get outside of the business and speak to people on a different level with different things. And we need to break the patterns, and everything in life is around pattern recognition. If we can recognize the patterns that we have, I have them, you have them. In order to do that, we need to do something different. So that's lesson number one. We're going to head back into the vlog so you can kind of get a behind the scenes of me traveling to Belfast, meeting Aaron, and shooting the ship. So let's get back in. Wow, that's the first time I've ever seen the team at security getting monitored based on pass rate and how many people have come through per hour. It just shows you what gets measured, gets managed. Belfast, we are here. After an hour and a half delay, finally touched down. It's currently 9 o'clock. Aaron should be waiting for me now. So, let's go. Here he is. Aye, aye! Let's dive into lesson number 2. Now, me and Aaron spoke at great length around one of the most volatile, unpredictable things inside of your fitness business. And Aaron's had his gym for over a decade, and myself too. I opened my first gym in 2017, so 9 years. And we spoke about, the ability to continuously be looking at new talent, A-star team members, because the truth is A-star team members don't want to work with B players. Why do you think everyone wants to play with Ronaldo or Messi or be in the same sports team as the best? It's because they want to be in a position where they're playing with the best, and it's the same for the team. So if you're in a position that you feel that you're not able to find the right talent, or that people come on board and aren't quite at the level that you need to ask yourself a few different questions. Firstly, are you good enough yet? Is your leadership where it needs to be? Because if you bring on a world-class team member and they don't have the right system to follow, that might be the delivery of the program. It might be that you're actually in an early stage of founding the business and not quite mature enough in order to push for growth or give that person enough opportunity to go and create, to go and excel. Remember, for your team, they need to have some element of feedback that what they're doing is of a worthy cause. People aren't just paid in terms of resources, in terms of money, they're paid in terms of fulfillment from their role. And if you're not able to fulfill the fulfillment that they can have based on the role that they do and the activities that they play out every single day, that's a you problem. The next thing we need to look at is, what does the company culture currently look like? And is it a place where people come and their standard goes up? Because if you're finding people who come in whose standards here and your standards there, then that's going to be a problem, because that person's going to suddenly either drop their standard and not execute at the level that they should be, because we already know what they've been exposed to, but also it leaves you in a place where that potential person who's an A team player could transition off, and then leaves you thinking, wow, I've just lost a great person there. Now, people are one of the most volatile, unpredictable parts of the business. With any business, I don't care what it is, whether you're in the building trade or whether you're selling software or you're in the fitness space, they are the most volatile people, or the volatile things, but they're also the individuals that are most crucial to your business. And you can directly correlate a business that is doing exceptionally well by the people inside driving the activities every single day. Because with the rise of AI and everything like that, and people being worried about them losing their jobs over the next 5 to 10 years, I think it makes it even more apparent that in the fitness industry, coaches need to understand that they need to try and create more value in themselves. They need to work harder on themselves than they do the business. That's something that I always tell my team is, I want you to work harder on yourself through personal development, through growth, through challenging yourself than you do your freaking job. Because the last thing you want as a founder is to be surrounded by average people. Now, coming back to the question I asked you earlier, if you're in a place where you're at your absolute peak, you've done the work, you've put the time in, you've built the team, then it's about raising the level of everybody else. It's about driving that standard up so that when people come in, they go, shit, this is freaking at another level. We've just brought a brand new team member on board. His name's Joe. He was working at a small group PT gym, and he said that when he came on board, from the moment he walked in to do his very first trial session to come on board in his first week, he's never had an experience like that, because we go through a system and we have a certain standard we are not willing to compromise on. So listen, people, there's challenges all the time. Even when you've got a good team, you've got maybe a world-class team, there's going to be challenges. Because when I say the word volatility, it's because there's not just volatility in the person's day-to-day, but it's in what's going on in their family life. You know, somebody could be an A-team player, but they just hit a spell where maybe they've just had a kid, maybe they've got some troubles at home, maybe they've lost a loved one. So many things can play a part in that team member maybe being in a place where they need that level to be brought out of them. And that's your job as the founder and the CEO of your company. So that's lesson number 2. Always be 5 moves ahead with hiring. Even if you've got your rock stars here on the front line, always be in a position where you're looking for new talent. Every single CV that crosses my desk, I am still willing to have a conversation with each of those people. I still have job opportunities out there when we're not hiring, because somebody could leave the business at any moment. Maybe somebody's hit the end of their road and it's like, you know what, this might not be the right opportunity for you anymore, and they transition off. Because it's your job as the founder to find the people that can run the company tomorrow. Your job as the founder is to find the people that can run the company tomorrow, because if it's always solely reliant on you, you don't have a business, you have a well-paid job. Lesson number 3 is a management philosophy. What gets measured gets managed. It's a famous quote by Peter Drucker. If you haven't read any of his stuff, I highly recommend you doing so. And what he says is that it's impossible for us to improve performance, focus, intensity to something, or even know that we have clarity that we're going in the right direction. You can see over the top of this video that coming out of Gatwick and actually being able to see 2 metrics that the security guards are measured by. If you are not tracking, not the metrics, but the right metrics inside of your business, you see, most gym owners that I speak to aren't tracking the right things. They track a number, that they don't even know how to improve or aren't even sure what kind of feedback it's given them. And I have something inside of each of my scorecards, which is called evergreen metrics, the most important metrics inside of my business. If I was to look at the 3 things on a beach somewhere to know that my business is healthy, these are the 3 metrics. And the airport actually gives you a very clear way to understand exactly what are the 2 forms of success for them. Theirs is how many people come through here every single hour. And the other thing is what's the pass-through rate, the percentage of people coming through. And you can now see why I've changed the 3 lessons. This wasn't even part of what I wanted to speak to you guys about. But after going through it, it made me realize that as we go through this next decade of technology, of AI, we need to be looking at every single thing as an ROI, whether that's software, team, rent, utilities, whatever you're paying, we need to be looking at, because this is the exact same way the airport is. They're looking at labor efficiency. They're looking at how many people do they need, how many gates do they need on each place, and are we actually making money? Because ultimately, the airport is a business. Yes, there's airlines who make money, but the airport as well needs to be productive. There needs to be an element of productivity, which is why security guards are being managed against these 2 metrics. Now, I know I'm going off at a slight tangent here, but the same applies inside of every single business. You need to be tracking the right metrics. And the way I always get founders to think about it is, if you're on a beach, if you can't communicate to anybody and you have one spreadsheet, what are the 3 numbers that are most important? Is it conversion rate? Is it revenue, profit? Is it cancellation requests? What is it? That way you have a pulse that the business is going in the right direction. Of course, there's more metrics than just 3, but we need to understand the exact metrics that give us the ability to know, are we able to operate over the next 30 days? Because if we don't forecast, if we can't get a pulse, it's impossible to change. And that's what numbers do. They give you a pulse on what may need to shift in strategy. Now, we're about to enter our quarterly strategy planning for Q2 of 2026. So for us, we're currently backdating data from Jan, Feb, March to ensure that we can improve the metrics that may not be where we need them to be, and what needs to be true in order to improve those metrics. But it's impossible for you to improve the business if you don't have a pulse on the numbers, which is why it's so important to track the data. So I've got a little bit of homework for you as we wrap up this video. If you're somebody right now who's a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of tracking metrics inside of your business, I want you to just literally see the description below. I've created a template that you can literally download and deploy with the numbers that we use inside of our fitness business, that you can also tweak and change if you feel there's other more important numbers, but it has to mean enough and give you enough of a pulse to make a difference inside of the business. As soon as you track something for longer than 4 weeks with a number that you don't know how to improve, you're probably tracking the wrong things. So the goal here is to get feedback. If you're looking at a number knowing it's improving or it's where you need it to be, great, keep monitoring it. If you're tracking it and you're not actually sure whether it's good, bad, you either need to increase your knowledge on whether that number is still something you need, or look to remove it. Because if you're tracking Google reviews, but you're not actually making an effort to improve the Google review, you probably should stop tracking it. So listen, guys, I just want to say thank you for joining me on this vlog. I'm going to be doing more content like this. If you gain value from it, I would really appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button and go and follow me on Luke_Turner_official via Instagram, because I share all my day-to-day stuff and lots of value on there. So thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.